Imagine it's 20,000 years ago. You're not worried about paying rent. You're not worried about your phone battery. You're not even worried about taxes. Instead, you're worried about something much simpler: breathing. You wake up in a smoky cave. The campfire burned all night. The air is thick. Your chest feels tight. You take a breath, then another, then another. None of them seem to work. Meanwhile, your hunting group is already leaving to chase a giant mammoth, and you're sitting there wheezing like an ancient accordion. Today, inhalers don't seem like a big deal, but if you had asthma thousands of years ago, every dusty cave, every campfire, every pollen-filled spring day could become a life-or-death situation. So how did ancient humans survive asthma? Did they even know what it was? And if you were born back then, would you have made it to adulthood? Let's find out. Did ancient people have asthma? The short answer is yes. Asthma is not a modern disease. Ancient writings from Egypt, China, Greece, and India describe people who struggled to breathe, coughed constantly, and suffered attacks triggered by smoke or exercise. The word asthma itself comes from ancient Greece and basically means panting or shortness of breath. So if you were hoping asthma was invented by modern pollution, sorry. Human lungs have been causing trouble for a very long time. Scientists believe asthma has probably existed for as long as humans have. The problem is that ancient people didn't know what was happening inside the lungs. They didn't understand inflammation. They didn't understand immune systems. Some cultures blamed spirits. Others blamed bad air. A few probably blamed that one guy in the tribe who was always suspiciously unlucky. Every time Grog comes hunting, someone stops breathing. Why ancient life was terrible for asthma. Now here's the really bad news. Ancient life was basically an asthma trigger simulator. First, smoke. Every human community depended on fire. Fire for cooking, fire for warmth, fire for protection, which meant smoke. Lots of smoke. People spent hours every day breathing it, and unlike modern homes, many ancient shelters had terrible ventilation. Imagine living inside a giant barbecue pit. Second, dust. Ancient roads weren't paved. Homes weren't sealed. Everything produced dust. Third, pollen. No allergy medication, no antihistamines, just nature trying its best to make your lungs quit. And finally, animal fur. Humans often lived very close to animals. Great if you like mammoths. Not so great if your lungs disagree. How did they survive? So if asthma existed and life constantly triggered it, why didn't everyone die? Well, some did. Ancient childhood mortality was already extremely high. A severe asthma attack without treatment could absolutely become deadly, but many people likely survived because their symptoms were mild. Others adapted. Humans are surprisingly good at adjusting. People learned which places made breathing easier. Some avoided smoky shelters. Others slept near cave entrances where airflow was better. Certain plants were also used as traditional remedies. Ancient Egyptians burned herbal mixtures. Traditional Chinese medicine used various breathing treatments. Indian healers experimented with herbal preparations. Were these cures? Not really. Some probably helped, some probably did nothing, and some probably worked mainly because the patient survived long enough for the attack to pass. Ancient medicine was often a mix of wisdom, luck, and optimism. Mostly optimism. What if you had a serious asthma attack? Let's be honest. This is where things become scary. Imagine you're running from a predator. Your tribe is sprinting, everyone is moving. Then your lungs decide they're done cooperating. You can't catch your breath. Your chest tightens. Panic sets in, which makes breathing even harder. Without modern medicine, a severe attack could become extremely dangerous. There were no inhalers, no emergency rooms, no ambulance. The medical plan was basically, try not to die. And while that sounds like a joke, that was often the entire healthcare system. If the attack became severe enough, survival depended on luck, rest, and whether your airway eventually relaxed on its own. Humans have always cared for family members. Even in prehistoric times, archaeologists have discovered individuals with serious disabilities who survived for years because other people helped them. That means communities often supported vulnerable members. If someone frequently struggled to breathe, family members may have adjusted daily activities. Perhaps they carried extra burdens. Perhaps they allowed that person to avoid the smokiest tasks. Perhaps they stayed nearby during difficult seasons. Humans survived the ancient world not because individuals were strong. They survived because groups worked together. The strongest human superpower wasn't muscle. It was cooperation. Although throwing spears at giant animals was admittedly helpful. Now let's make this personal. If you have asthma today, imagine losing your inhaler forever. No pharmacy, no hospital, no prescription, nothing. Every campfire becomes a risk. Every dusty trail becomes a challenge. Every spring season becomes a surprise boss battle. Could you survive? Maybe. Many ancient people with asthma probably did. But your life would almost certainly be harder. You would learn every trigger. You would avoid smoke whenever possible. You would depend heavily on family and community. And severe attacks would always remain a terrifying possibility. The simple blue inhaler many people carry today would look like magic to someone living 5,000 years ago. So yes, ancient humans probably had asthma. They didn't understand it. They couldn't cure it. And they definitely couldn't refill an inhaler at the local cave pharmacy. Yet many still survived by adapting, by learning, and most importantly, by helping each other, which is a reminder that throughout history humans have faced enormous challenges with far fewer tools than we have today. The next time you take a breath without thinking about it, remember, for some ancient humans, that simple breath was one of the hardest things they did all day. And if you enjoyed this journey into the ancient world, subscribe and let me know what ancient health problem you'd like us to explore next. Until then, try not to fight any mammoths while having an asthma attack.